Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, we back with another fantastic reaction video of our favorite anime Skynet and the turtle that created her. Looks like she's still making waves in the content creation space. Some good, of course, but you know what it is. Whenever someone gets successful, there's always haters, and it looks like it hasn't really stopped yet. At least the reactions to it hasn't stopped yet. So we're gonna look at a video from Kazuhana. More Kazuhana, not as opposed to less Kazuhana. I've been reacting to more Kazuhana recently. I was just telling the chat I've started to watch more Kazuhana than CNN, which is crazy, OD. By the way, before we begin, thank you guys for reacting to my ARG video. Everyone from the Swarm, posting their thoughts and on my analysis on that video is really cool. Make sure you check that out and let me know your thoughts as well. But it looks like xQc and Asmongold have something to say, so we're going to find out what's happened, man. And I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot of chaotic, hilarious, and arrestable behavior. And then we're going to end it with a clip that I am confused about. Okay, so let's get right into the video. Like, comment, subscribe to the bell notifications so YouTube and Twitch Senpai can finally notice me. All right, let's get right into it. Yeah. Yeah, and I did react to this initial response, yeah. That clearly was the trigger, yes. Oh,
might be fueling a part of them that generally is.
Let me fix that again, guys. You can't hear the video.
There is a little more to this whole situation going on with xQc and recently Neuro. Now, if you guys don't know, we've been covering this clip a couple of times in the past couple of days, where essentially he made a couple of comments about anime in general after seeing a Neuro clip, which a lot of people are pointing towards him saying this directly from watching this.
Yeah, and we already reacted to this video, by the way.
Making was saying, how come a lot of anime have a lot of voices?
And then I think I heard about the hypocrisy.
Like lullabies, and people love that.
Which, to the shock of no one, to be honest.
Fueling a part of them that generally is a threat to society and validates them. So, yeah, obviously,
why do people say such language like this, man?
And then we looked at a couple of other clips that come out from people kind of responding to this in the sense of this clip here. And,
he was playing this.
xQc is also, as he claims, a threat to society.
Wow.
If he is also the one engaging within the same kind of content, which I think.
Yeah, based on his own logic, he is he is also a threat to society, right? And obviously, he's gonna be like, "No, that's not what it means. No, you're just twisting my words." Like, well, your words were twisted from the very beginning, right? Because, like, honestly, so I don't want to hear it.
It's incredibly funny, and obviously this got revealed very, very quickly after this claim.
What is his name? I don't even know what the name of this game is. What is this called?
Yeah, people have been clowning on him ever since for that, and many people, as I said, have been kind of attributing this to his whole VTuber PTSD from the Marvel Rivals Twitch Rivals tournament with Doki Bird, where
I've heard that.
Where his team was beaten by her team when she had to drop out after they tried to.
I mean, he's probably still salty about that. I would imagine he is, but not like.
And yeah, it seems like he's been mad ever since.
Okay, let me put it this way. I don't think he's mad. I don't think he's like, oh, he wakes up every day thinking about Doki Bird. Like, I don't think that's what's going on here. But he obviously was a little peeved about it and was probably even more upset about the responses and the people making fun of him about it. You know what I mean? Like I said before, people, big streamers or anyone at the top of their niche, they have a little bit of an ego, and if it gets bruised a little bit, they take it pretty personal, even if they don't show it outwardly as much as they can. So maybe this is part of that. Maybe he has more of a maybe he's leaning more against any type of anime VTuber content, whereas when he played this game, he wasn't before, right? And now he got threatened a little bit, made fun of a little bit. Now he's like pissed off, So it's whatever, man. It's just like a common human thing.
Yeah, kind of been including this picture in here, which I think is quite funny, right? But it seems like now we have some other streamers getting involved in the situation and kind of talking about it, including people like Asmongold right here, who also has spoken about his take on loli characters and just this clip of xQc in general, which a lot of YouTuber fans have also been responding to too. So let's just take a look and then we'll talk about it.
That get involved with like this stuff because they like lollies. Absolutely, that's a huge factor. Now, I don't think that it's necessarily like, if like a girl has a loli avatar, I don't think it's really always a big problem or a huge issue, but I do whenever the character is being sexualized.
And that's the difference. And that's the difference right there. You know what I mean? And I think the average normal person feels that way, right? Especially if they're not really interested in anime or that kind of culture to begin with. Like, you see what I'm saying? And that's the big difference. Like, when I look at Neuro-sama stuff, that never comes up. Never comes up for me. I don't even think about it. No one's even brought it up to me. You know what I mean? So, that's kind of crazy. Honestly, that's kind of crazy that this is happening. And they're using it. They're not even using it to have like an honest conversation about like Japanese culture or anime, and how that conflicts with Western culture or whatever. Whatever that conversation is. The reason why they're saying this stuff isn't because they want to have a conversation like about that in a genuine way. The reason why they're doing it is because they want to throw darts and arrows at a perceived threat. Something that, you know what I mean? They want, it's basically a way of having an ad hominem attack that feels safer to do, right? That they feel like they have more permission to do with the least amount of pushback. So they use that angle to attack them, right? Bear in mind, though, like, I keep saying this over and over again, this isn't an attack on Neuro-sama. They use Neuro-sama as the object of the attack because it feels safer. But it's not really, to me, it's not an attack on Neuro-sama when you say stuff like that. When you're, about Neuro-sama, right? To me, you're attacking Vettel. You're attacking his work. And that to me makes it more personal and is completely unfair, out of bounds, right? Because what you're implying is that he endorses that, right? That the basis of his content relies on that. And that's never been the case, from what I've seen especially. So, like, nice try. Nice trick. Try again.
So, and also keep in mind that even if the character isn't being sexualized inside of the context, you're going to see a lot of the fan art and everything.
Yeah, you're going to see that. Yeah, because some people are just going to be about that. Some people are just going to be weird.
I think it's weird. Like, I don't think lolis should be illegal, but I think that it's weird. And I think that's a very, very fair analysis.
I actually agree
with
him.
Fair, position to have. That if you want to get involved and you want to get attached and, attracted to, fucking, some, weird 2D loli character, I don't necessarily think you should go to jail. But,
it's so crazy.
I don't want you babysitting my kids either.
Exactly. Eyebrow might want to be raised a little bit.
If you knew somebody was in and attracted to characters like that in anime, would you want them babysitting your kid? No, you wouldn't.
And that's fair to say.
Really, that's the bottom line.
That's fair to say, in my opinion.
And I'm not saying that
it doesn't mean you're a bad person that you do illegal things and stuff like that. Because I always separate fiction and reality, right? You know what I mean? I don't think a person should go to jail until they physically actually are in the process of trying to do something that's illegal, right? Because you have to. You can't just arrest someone for thinking things. Unfortunately, whatever you want to call it. But is it a little weird? Yeah, it's a little
They're weird. a weirdo. I'm not. But I'm going to talk about the furry thing again. If you took two circles and you made a Venn diagram between the general population and people that wanted to fuck animals. And then you took the same two circles and you took one of them and it was the population of furries and the population of people that wanted to fuck animals. The Venn diagram between the furries and the animal fuckers.
Where's he going with this?
The circles would be closer together than the Venn diagram with the general public.
Okay.
That's just the way.
So he's saying, okay, well, he did all that to basically say you're not gonna go to jail, but I'm allowed to raise an eyebrow on you and be a little bit and be a little concerned. You know what I mean? That's fair to say. Interesting.
So yeah, that's obviously the main point that he's trying to drive home here, and many people have been bringing this up due to the fact that this is in response to the xQc clip wherever he talks about it. Now,
yeah, and the only reason it's coming up is because of xQc being hypocritical, right?
That, you know, you're allowed to feel like it's weird or you don't like it or whatever. And, you know, that's kind of where I'm at. I think me personally, I don't like it, but also I'm not going to bash other people for not liking it, right? They're like, it's not like one of those things that I care about. And if people want to do that,
is this what Twitch is like?
totally fine. Like, it's not up to...
No. Jay, this is not what Twitch is like. Some people are like this. Just like in any format anywhere. There are some people who act like this. Or talk or be hypocritical or be disrespectful. You're going to find that anywhere, right? Oopsie. Apparently I'm supposed to wake up at 2:30 in the evening. All right, anyways.
I don't care what you do in your free time, but me personally, I'm just not going to consume that kind of content, right? So again, I think that's totally fine, and that's like a kind of sexualized
personal choice reigns supreme
like,
in situations like this.
Like for example, like loli VTubers, I don't really care like about them. Like it doesn't really mean I'm not going to watch them or I'm not going to cover them or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they're a loli, that's just weird. But yeah, obviously in regards to the kind of sexual stuff that he talks about. Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, I'm not about that
necessarily like it myself. I'm not gonna, interact with that content, but I don't really care if someone does, right? And that's, I think, the main point that he kind of has there as well. Now he does go a little bit further in terms of saying like, I won't let them babysit my kids and stuff, which has kind of angered some people in the community, which I can.
Yeah, it's whatever. Like people are allowed to get angry. It's whatever. That's his personal decision. Like at that point, you're talking about what a personal, like what their opinion is on it, and at that point, you're just like, if you don't like it, you don't like it. But just don't. At a certain point, like people need to stop taking things too personally. You know what I mean? You know? Do you agree with with the premise, like the spirit of what he's saying? Do you? Okay, and let's leave it at that. That's what I think.
Understand too. Obviously, some people are saying I would not want any man babysitting my kids, which is quite funny because they kind of just assume that everybody that likes loli kind of characters or VTubers or whatever are men. Which
that's an interesting point. I didn't think of that. I didn't think of that.
Do like those kind of
that's crazy
tropes or whatever you call it. If you're saying what stream is this from, because he was defending loli's rights to exist. So this feels like a backtrack or a weird projection to me. It feels
I don't
like
a
woke Carol take based on emotion, not logic. So this is his stream today. Said this clip is around half a year old, which isn't true. I don't know why someone said that. That's not true at all because we literally saw this xQc Neuro
this is very recent.
The other day. So no. They say as a lolicon, I mean his opinion is mostly fair. It's not illegal, but you can find it weird, sure. However,
oh wow, look at this.
Why would anyone trust someone with your kids anyways? A lolicon, furry, a porn actor, anyone. Why would I trust
this is kind of a serious subject.
I said that's the whole point of the babysitting topic. They say this feels like a backtrack.
Yeah, I mean that's like in that trusting your kids to babysit comment that has been made. Like you better go parse through all the people who potentially babysit your kids like heavily anyway, right? So this should never happen.
I thought I remember him originally saying that it was weird.
I'm sure
which again, he did say it was weird in an old clip here, as you guys can see. Some people have been kind of bringing this one up.
By the way, the reason why I'm looking at this is what happens when you talk out of the side of your ass on Twitter and social media. It doesn't matter how big you are as a content creator. You should really just avoid context like that. You can have these beliefs or whatever, but you really just need to just shut up sometimes and just mind your own business, especially when you're not even willing to do 15 minutes. You know what I mean? Like, it's way too coincidental that looking at a clip of Neuro being successful made you go down this whole rabbit hole. It's very weirdly and coincidental. It really is. And hopefully his response to this is to say nothing and just move on. xQc. The response is just to move on. I wouldn't even stream watching these videos and reacting to them. Just let it go, bro. That's what I would do.
Back in June, this was brought up.
Relationship or pseudo relationship.
What is this?
Or anything involving things that are even close to lolis at all in games, and I totally support any censorship of that in almost all capacities. I think it's disgusting, and I think it's for pedos. That's what I think.
And he's allowed to feel that way, dude.
Yeah, as you can see.
Honestly, he's allowed to feel that way.
His opinion on this, but as I said,
does it mean that you're that someone who likes Neuro-sama and like wants to support the channel is that? No, but the problem is people like to attack a group of other people by making sweeping generalities because it's easier to do. You know, it doesn't require thinking, nearly as much thinking. And to be honest, when they make those sweeping statements, it really is for them. It really is to make themselves feel better in the moment in some type of weird superiority kind of way than more about just talking about the facts and you know, and the truth of the matter, right? That's really what it's about. So you just keep that in mind, because sometimes I feel like even if someone makes those sweeping adjustments, like even then you should probably just ignore them, because you should know they're talking crazy, because they typically all say the same things.
Things can change, and you know, my opinion
with little nuance or added knowledge.
Again,
to it,
I know that some people are saying it's a backtrack, and you know, it's whatever, but I don't think it's really that big of a deal to the point where you know, Asmongold is in like big trouble or something over this, because again, I do think, as I said, people can change it's really Asmongold is in like big trouble or something over this, because again, I do think, as I said, people can change their opinions on certain topics, like xQc has done with his kind of whole him calling out childlike themes in anime and like VTubers and stuff. But I think the important thing to discuss isn't whether their opinion has changed, it's whether or how the opinion has changed. And I think in xQc's case, it has changed due to a Marvel Rivals tournament with a VTuber, and now he's just gone hell-bent on destroying every
single... Yeah, that's very petty, right? Like, that's the major issue with xQc in the, you know, being a public figure and having his change opinion be, like, obviously suspiciously related to losing to a VTuber in a video game.
VTuber that he possibly can see, whereas I think Asmongold's is more so he's just thought about it a little bit more and changed his opinion, right? I think that's essentially it, right?
Yeah, that's totally fair.
People have also been kind of commenting here saying, funny how Asmon says he doesn't think we're PDFs, but then tries to make the insinuation that we're more likely to be PDFs, kind of like this his friend Cooktoad, obviously talking about Tectone there, who said visible disgust. So his position is basically that you are more likely to find a PDF from a lolicon by virtue of what the interest is, but also the lolicon isn't worse than any other online fetishes, so it should be given equal treatment. This view is infinitely more tolerable than the antis, which again, obviously, I think there's many different opinions.
I did not think I was going to talk about this.
Some people still dislike that last little bit where he said, you know, I wouldn't want them babysitting.
Yeah, but at a certain point, like, you just gotta get out of your own head, man. Like, if someone says something about, like, because obviously there are a lot of people who really like this kind of stuff. And, like, you got to know what you're going into. You know what I mean? Seriously. Like, at a certain point, you have to realize what you're into, like, isn't really a general thing. You know? And you can justify it all you want to, and you might have some good points. But, like, at a certain point, you just got to be numb to the criticism if you're honest to goodness not doing anything, you know, ridiculous. And you know what I mean when I say that. So, like, you know, if someone's saying I'm doing something wrong, accusing me of something, and I know I didn't do it, I just ignore them. You know, I mean, I'm not going to apologize for something I didn't do. So, like, you know, that's what I'm saying. So maybe this is you know, maybe that's just what it is. Maybe that's my opinion.
People are mad at that. What it is. Some people are just taking what they can get in terms of his support, as you know, it isn't exactly, he's not like fully against it, you know, he's not like, if I go like, oh, let's get rid of them or whatever, like he did in the other clip that we looked at. It seems like he has kind of softened up a little bit, but
yeah, makes sense.
People you know, either are accepting that or they're not accepting that, and I do think that is totally you know, it's a mixed bag, right? And there's been more comments as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff here. Wow, this conversation is crazy, man. Everyone's just going crazy about it.
To this, they say important context to add is that I'm discussing sexualized lollies specifically. Having a childlike / chibi character is totally fine, and there's nothing wrong with it. But if you're sexualizing it, I think that's kind of weird.
This is like milquetoast, average American, average person context. I mean, feeling. So I'm not even really worried about this. Okay, so that looks like that's what's going on here. We're gonna so that's what's going on here. So as you can see, the xQc scenario, this situation, brings up this whole subject for the 8 millionth time, about the concept of petite characters, you know, in anime culture, and you know, and people who like those types of characters, and then people who take it too far, right? Obviously. So and it's just, in my opinion, you're never going to escape people occasionally clumping you together with degenerates. And you just got to accept that. If you're going to like this kind of stuff, you just got to accept that, right? And just know that if you're not like that, you're not like that. Just ignore them. Honestly. You know what I mean? I don't take it personally every single time. And I think that goes with any type of thing, by the way. So that's just my personal opinion. That was a little bit of a more serious subject than I thought it was going to be today. Because I always react to this stuff blindly, by the way. I always react to it blindly, but I guess you have an idea of how I feel about the subject. I guess it's more aligned to what Asmund is saying right here. But let's lighten it up, a little bit of brevity here. Oh, look, a lolly on the screen. Lol? Okay, anyways. So I don't know what this is. What is... it sounds like a doc. What is this, doc? Is this like something you can like research and find? Anyway, let's see what's going on here. It's supposed to be funny.
Doc_2026-01-08_07-48-27. That's the one about the bonus cousins, right?
Bonus cousins?
Love that story. Still has me in shock to this day.
What do you mean bonus cousins?
Let me recite it for you all.
Sorry about
there
my
once
phone,
was
guys.
a girl who, with her family, would visit her cousins every year at the same time.
Okay.
It was one of her favorite traditions, and she treasured the journey to her cousin's house each year. One day, however, the drive felt a little longer than usual. The girl could swear she'd seen that tree at least 3 times now, and was starting to fall asleep to the endless blurring of the forest. Suddenly, the car comes to a stop.
Did they
She
get lost?
awakens. She's told that they're going to a different relative's house. A house that they're supposed to visit every few years, not every single year like with her cousins. The girl is confused. She doesn't remember having any other relatives besides her cousins. Her family insisted that she did, and that her mind was just foggy since it's been a while since she had last seen them. There was something off about the house they visited. Something was inhabiting her relatives that she couldn't quite place. She was fairly certain the lady she saw was her auntie, but there was a subtle difference in her appearance, an almost indescribable wrongness with the way she looked, almost as if an AI had produced an image of how her auntie was supposed to look. The realization hit her all at once. These supposed bonus cousins were entirely fabricated. The girl suspected she may be in the wrong, so she tried to come up with a way to prove her beliefs. After a lavish dinner with the relatives, she went to bed, deciding to creep around the house at night to see if she could find any evidence of unnatural behavior. As it turned out, she didn't have to do much sneaking. While everyone was slumbering, all she had to do was peer through the small gaps by the door to see faces that looked far different than even the closest caricatures of her relatives. There was no way that these were her actual family members. She stared in shock for at least a couple of hours. As she went to retreat back under her covers, she was startled by a noise to her left. Turning, she saw in the dim lights of the staircase a figure with a knife. Before she could react, the figure stabbed her arms and legs. Clinging to life, she crawled back into her bedroom. Her real family discovered her not long after. They called an ambulance, and the girl was saved. However, she was never able to shake that feeling of uncanniness again. The end. I'd destroy Goku in a fight.
Why is that? Why did you end the video like that?
Doc_2026
What the heck? Why'd you end the video like that? I would beat Goku in a fight? That is a very interesting story. Like, does she have more stories like this? That's insane, dude. What the heck? Okay, well, I got something to think about when I go to sleep tonight, I guess. Better make sure my roommates aren't aliens from like or something, or you know, I don't want to think about it no more. Thank you so much for watching, guys. We're gonna react to more chaotic, hilarious, and arrestable behavior. If you're watching this on YouTube, we do stream on Twitch, so make sure you join us at twitch.tv/JamBudsVO. Would love to see you, and because sometimes we react to these videos there as well. So take care of yourself, and as always, stay jamming.